Alright, so to start this tutorial off, first thing you're obviously going to need is some paper. So I got this at Walmart. It is the Casemate cardstock paper, and it's the super heavyweight, or the 65-pound one. You'll know because it'll be like a little bit thicker, which is what you want. And so the first thing you want to do with that piece of paper is fold it in half, and then fold the halves into quarters. If that makes any sense, you can just kind of follow along what I am doing here. And then from there you're going to fold that into itself, so one edge of the piece of paper kind of covers the entire thing, if that makes sense. This is going to be the handle of the sword, and I'm sorry if you can hear a little jingling, that's my kitty cat. Anyways, once you've done that, you're going to take some Elmer's glue and glue just the edge of that. It should look something like this when you're finished. Taking some paper, we're going to roll it up and apply it inside the little tubey thing that we've got going on. And then you're going to take 3 more pieces of paper, roll it up even skinnier, and place it inside. This is going to add some more stability to the end of the sword. And once that's finished, you can go ahead, take some tape, masking tape, whatever kind of tape you want to do, and cover the entire thing. It should look like this when you're finished. Next, we're going to be moving on and adding some fabric to the whole design. So I wanted to go with something matchy-matchy to go with the whole aesthetic of my look, my character. So I decided to go with a purple shade. You can do whatever shade you want. And once you've cut out a piece, I went ahead and cut that actually in half because I thought it was too thick. Tie one end of the katana piece, just kind of wrap it around and tie like a knot. And then looking at a reference photo, I was actually looking at a video which I will link in the description bar below for how I actually built the whole thing. But you can just look at a reference photo of like the aesthetic of the end of the sword so you can kind of replicate it yourself. Once you've wrapped the entire sword with your cloth, you're going to tie off one end similar to how we started, and then you can go ahead and cut that piece off. And it should look like this when we're finished. You can go ahead and like slightly adjust, so trim off any extra little flyaway bits and adjust the placement. Next, we're going to be moving on to the actual build of the rest of the katana. So taking another sheet of paper, folding it in half, and then you're going to fold those halves in halves. It's going to look like a W shape when it's finished. Or, you know, I mean, it could look like an M as well, whatever. It'll look like a W or an M when you're finished. And then once that's done, you're going to go ahead and take those pieces, pinch them in the center, and fold them like so. So yeah, you're going to pinch the center portion and then kind of fold like the back piece in half, if that makes sense. You can also run your nail along the little edge there because you're going to be taking the outer portions and folding them not quite in half, like a quarter of the way, if that makes sense. You can just kind of watch what I'm doing because it's a little hard to explain for me. Once you've finished, it should look something like this. And I'm just kind of showing you guys what like the whole piece looks like. So there's 2 little flaps on the inside there, and we are going to be folding that in half and taking one side of the flap and bringing it over to the other side, and then going ahead and gluing the entire outer portion of the piece. So there should be 2 sides on one, and one side on the other. Very hard again to fully explain, but y'all just watch what I'm doing here, okay? Make sure you glue it together when it's done, okay? And once you're done, it should look something like this, and you can go ahead and create a second one. And you want to make sure that they're lined up so that the double edge is on one side and the single edge is on the other. Take a sheet of paper, roll it up, and connect the two pieces together. And we're going to be creating almost the exact same format for the third piece, and I'll explain a little bit more as we go along. Alright, so again, we've gone ahead and done the exact same steps that we did for the other pieces, except this time we're going to take one edge and fold it in half, and then take the other side, fold it in half again. You should have like these small little flappy things on the outer corners. And what this has done has created a kind of a crease so that we can flip the edge outside in or inside out, or y'all can see what the hell I'm doing here, right? It's just going to create like that sword edge tip. And so you can go ahead and glue the side that has one flap, and this is just so that it keeps it stationary. You should have something that looks like this when you're done. So one side is glued down and the rest of it is still open. And then you're going to take the two little flappy bit thingies, fold in the very tip there over the entire rest of the sword end. It should look like this when you're done. So again, similar to the other pieces, you're going to have one side that has a double edge and then another side that's got a single edge. Make sure you line them up properly. And again, take another sheet of paper, roll it up, and connect that to the tip. And then I went back and added another sheet for the end of the sword because it wasn't thick enough. So this will add a little bit more stability again to your sword so that it's not flopping around all over the place. And you can just line it up, make sure it looks nice. Oh yeah, that looks nice. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry, which I have gone ahead and used tacky glue and glued those edges together. Yeah, that's what you want to do next, guys. That's what you want to do next. And here I'm taking the foam board multi-pack, which I got at Michael's, and I'm just taking a cup. You can use something else to draw a circle. And don't use scissors, because if you use scissors, it's just gonna fuck everything up. So take a cutting board and be very, very careful. Cut out the whole circle there, and then I'm just gonna line it up, which I didn't really line it up centered, but yeah, it's fine. Line it up as close to centered as you can, and then again, taking a knife, cut out the center portion, making sure you're very, very careful. Now I actually cut a little bit too much off. but it worked out in the end because once you apply the end of your sword there, it's gonna come together, guys. So don't worry if you fucked up like I did. And for the connection of the end of your sword, you're gonna take 3 pieces of paper and put it inside, line it up, and there you have it, my friends. Glue all of that shit together. I use hot glue actually for that part. And then go ahead and spray paint the entire sword using silver spray paint.
I need a cha-cha beat, boy.
So to try my very best to cover up the little divots there that you see, they were really bothering me, so I took some molding paste and ran it along the edges, trying my very best using a brush to kind of blend it out so it looked kind of seamless. But if it's a little bit bumpy, that's totally fine because you're going to take some sandpaper anyways and sand it down. Also, don't worry about if it takes off some of the spray paint because we're just going to spray paint it again anyways. Next, taking some black paint, we're gonna paint whatever this piece is called, I don't actually know. But we're gonna paint it, and again you can kind of change the color scheme to go with whatever you think looks best. And because the little divots were still really bothering me, I decided to take some black paint and paint the entire outer portion of it, so it kind of pulls everything together and looks a little bit less noticeable. Cover it up when in doubt. And that completes my katana build, guys. Hopefully you liked that video and found it helpful and useful to you in some sort of way. Again, I will be attaching the links to the tutorials that I used to actually make this because I think they deserve some recognition as well. And if you guys haven't checked out my Nick's Face Awards Anime Challenge video, I will also make sure that I link it up top somewhere here. You guys should definitely go check it out. I worked very hard on it. And don't forget that voting ends on June 24th. So if you liked my video and you want to see me move on, I need your help. So go to the Nick's Face Awards website, cast your votes, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.